educate the audience on the advantages of shifting to different renewable energy sources from diesel. This session will be chaired by Mr. Raghuraman, founder, eHands Energy. Our other speakers in this session are Ms. Harshita S. Kumar, Head, Special Initiatives, L&T Construction, Mr. Jayashankar E. Warrier, Professor, Chemical Engineering, DIT, Mr. Manukaran, Manager, Distributed Generation, Sun Edison, and Mr. Divakaran, Vice President, Marketing, Acclaim Technology Services. Hope you all enjoy the session.
Very good afternoon, everybody. We are quite under pressure for getting things done faster because you know that things are running behind the schedule. So this is one of the nice situations to be in for everybody. So we run through faster. So I'm going to try and save as much time as I can. One of the first things that I wanted to save time on was to talk about every panelist here. So we are compressing that. I'm requesting each speaker to talk about their background, professional competency and expertise as part of the presentation. And at the end, we'll sum up. And we hope we will give more time to interactive questions and answers. We are trying to keep the presentations in a span of 12 minutes, plus minus 1 or 2 minutes. So that's the plan. So I need to start with mine. Thank you. When I was working with a telecom tower company, as many of you may know, they're the largest diesel consumers, commercial, after the Indian Army. So we came out, in the senior management meeting that we need to give a catchy name to the initiatives for there were several parallel initiatives to reduce diesel. So that's how PUT came. So it's about a 3-year-old acronym in the telecom industry with many telecom tower companies. So get out of diesel. So the challenges, of diesel are many. I've just highlighted. Even assuming that the fossil fuel will be available for many more years to come, but it will only go up. The cost of extraction and cost of refining will only go up. And the biggest problem that we have in India is that it is artificially priced. And the moment it is decontrolled, which means diesel is to be priced on par with petrol or even higher as it is in many Western nations. Diesel is about 2 to 3% higher than petrol cost. That will be total mayhem in our country because we have perpetuated a situation where we are so dependent on diesel, which is what I call as the economic chaos of breeding the culture of luxury at the cost of the state. This is something that the government is talking about. Why should a $100,000 BMW or a Mercedes or Lexus be driven on diesel, and why should that be subsidized? So all these things will become an issue. One of the key things that over a period of 3 years we as a company have summed up is that we have very clearly established norms to prove that the cost of producing power from diesel is anything between 30 to 45 rupees and it will go up more, up to 100 kVA each. I'll talk about it a little later. This is something that I wanted to share. I didn't even look back, I was looking at mine. So I do hope that you had the chance to look at the previous slide. Anyway, this is something that I borrowed from GPM or the GSM Association, which is one of the most organized sectors in the world. So if you look at it, any renewable energy effort or any shift towards renewable energy, more or less following this path. So we think that in terms of the adoption of renewable energy in the telecom sector, we think we are in this stage 2 of what we call as scale demonstration. Because there are close to 1,000 odd sites across the country, 900 odd sites, which are on wind or on solar or on hybrid or on biogas, all combinations, mostly on solar, I would say. And in places where it is badly needed, in places like Bihar and UP, Eastern UP and Madhya Pradesh and Orissa, all those places where the grid supply is off by 10 to 15 hours a day. Then we are hoping that we move to the stage 3 in this year. So GSM Association has been tracking how the Green Energy Initiative has been moving on in the country for the last 5 years, and I have been part of the core committee of GSMA for the last 3 years. And virtually we were at zero. It was so difficult even to get one site up on solar a few years back. But now I think we've come a long way. Yet this is nothing. I mean, in terms of achievement, this is not even an achievement. This only goes to show that we are on the right track. We have a serious problem in our country because the diesel is highly subsidized, as you all know, and it is priced artificially lower. There's a huge pilferage, there's whole mechanism of mafia around it. It's very difficult to deal with it, and not many CEOs of the companies are willing to take it head on and deal with that. But it's changing. I would say one of the tower companies, telecom tower companies, have really taken the leadership in making a cleanup in the area. So globally, this is the scene in India, but globally it's moving up. A country like Vietnam, Cambodia have moved up close to 10% of their sites on non-diesel based system. So I'll just move on to how to get out of diesel. So these are based on our practical experiences. I'm just sharing what we tell our clients or what we practically do in situations. So first is to estimate the current cost of production or current cost of producing power from your DG. It will obviously vary from size to size and the age of the DG and many other factors. So we do have a template, which is evolved over a period of close to 100 iterations by various clients ranging from a public sector like BSNL to large private enterprise, Tata Enterprise, and this is very evolved. So it's quite precise, and also we work with kirloscers in arriving at the SFC to be plugged in. So this is available on request. You can send me an email, I can give you this template. So that's the starting point. So you will be surprised if the template will demand you to plug in some numbers on depreciation, on maintenance cost, on the life cycle, the number of hours that you want to scrap the turbine, the generator, all that. Once you make those basic assumptions and numbers, you will roll out a cost per unit for DG. And then it's very important to start on a small scale. So take it on a small scale, decide which is the load that you want to take off the DG. Typically people take lighting, fan, or less than 2 kVA load onto a small solar or wind system. So there are, and then draw a specific good plan, what we call as get out of diesel plan. It will vary from industry to industry, it will vary from sector to sector. So for example, the telecom industry has a very evolved plan, and the builders and the green buildings now are falling in the line. But I'm not sure about if you're running an agricultural sector or a small industry, you have to do something on your own. And then there are several options for you to choose the generation from. So you can choose a solar or a wind solar hybrid. There are close to 300 installations of husk power in India. It's a very successful demonstration of next level of scale up. And I've seen many of them doing very well in Bihar. And the company itself is called Us Power System, if you've not heard of them. And there are many other things that are coming up, including fuel cell, but it might work. But most often it is solar or wind plus solar hybrid and a little bit of biogas and now of course us in some areas. But we always target for a payback of 36 to 40 months on the capex of the generation, and it does come. We have proved in many places. There are many other things that you can look at in parallel in addition to going with the generation of non-diesel based generation. You can also look at some initiatives like going to deep discharge batteries or batteries with large storage and larger life cycle, and improving the efficiency of the inverter. That's one thing that many people were not aware of in India. And then enhance the battery capacity. These could be in parallel, or it could precede the renewable energy initiative. As a company, we have, Events Energy has done several initiatives. One of the things that we think that will give a big push to moving away from diesel is the state should come out with a policy. This is a state level policy decision. Every state should come out with a policy where net metering or reverse metering, whatever is being called, is a reality. So we are working with some states very closely on this agenda, and I think it will happen in the near future. We have launched a very revolutionary scheme of providing wind and solar and a BMI scheme with one of the leading microfinance companies who work close to 400 offices across the country. And the first 4 systems have been already sold in Kopargaon and now in Tamil Nadu near Kinnathukadu and Coimbatore. And we think we'll bring down the price to sub 1,000 at 900 rupee if you can provide them. So what's happening is that this microfinancing company is lending, let's say, juicers, mixies, and many other appliances to improve the social welfare or the economic activity in the region. They figure out that they have lent a mixie or a juicer and that thing doesn't work for 8 hours or 10 hours a day. So the person who's taken the loan is not going to pay back. So that's how this need came, and we got together. We've been discussing for close to a year, and we have now come out with a scheme which is considered as affordable by the rural folks, particularly in the central Maharashtra region. The Husk Power Corporation has also set up several such community-based power plants in Bihar and Eastern UP where they are retailing the renewable energy. So they are paying per unit, and they are already very poor or very economically weaker villages already paying 20 to 30 rupees per kilowatt hour for non-diesel power. And that's a benchmark already is being set up, because for them having some power at a higher cost is better than having nothing. The other thing is that that can take you out of the diesel is look at going the DC way. We are looking at creating a 30,000 square feet slab for the first time in India. Entire computing facility of a large software facility in Chennai has been handed over to us. They're moving in phases. Everything, air conditioners, projectors, refrigerators, computing, servers, everything. We may not even have electrical wires running. So we have an expert from Austin, Texas, who's done this for Google, and we are looking at it. So particularly for the IT industry, this may be very beneficial, because when the source of generation and the load is at the same place, you may want to look at the DC as the way to go forward. The Rockefeller Foundation is supporting what is called as Community Renewable Energy Initiative in a big way. So that's something that we recommend, that if you have a capacity to generate power in rural India, the Rockefeller will support it in terms of maybe capital, otherwise, to make sure that you're not only using it for you, you're using it for the community. And then design for renewable energy. The structure, the building structure itself should start with that. So, so I just wanted to share a case study that we have come across where customers have are paying about 200 rupees per month and receive 6 kilowatts, which is 33.3 rupees. So this is in Bihar. And the second case is in West Bengal, in Sundarbans. So they pay 30 watt in, so that's like 18.5, just to give you a benchmark. And these are not small numbers. These are, sorry, the first one is Sundarban, the second one is in Bihar. And these are not small numbers. Close to 150 villages, impacting the lives of about 15,000, 16,000 people have come out of this. So this is courtesy GSM Association in Hurst. Sorry. So I'll just wrap up. This is just to give you a quick background on our company, and I've shared this in my previous presentation, Green Energy. So this was eHands Energy was set up about 3 years back. And I was completely new to renewable energy. I didn't know any ABCD of it. Not that I know too much about it now. Still on a learning curve. But we are going to break even this year. That's a good news for us. And we are zero debt. We have no VCs. So it's entirely internal approval and funding. And the only thing that I'm trying to convince the investors is that the EBITDA will be low. If you are into green business, you cannot expect 45%, 50% or 300% EBITDA. It is going to be low because that is the very purpose of the green business. We are committed to sustainability. And I find that there are many investors willing to buy that, so we'll go with that. So 70% of our sale comes from assets, sale of capex. 20% which might go up in the years to come with the microfinancing plan that we have done in terms of EMI and Easy Pay, and 10% from release the space on the tower. This is in Bannerghatta National Park, because advertising on the wind turbines mast is very attractive. These are the verticals that we have. And in terms of accomplishments, we think that we are one of the fastest growing companies in what we call as wind solar hybrid. We always do hybrid. We have close to 50 installations now, and our book is stretching up to 2015. In terms of generation, we've crossed about 800 kilowatts of small installations. And we are one of the few pan-India companies. We have offices from Tamil Nadu, or from the southern part to the northernmost part. We have an office in Lake, and from west. That's the challenge that I have taken upon to build in the last 3 years, to make a pan-India presence. And we have a high strike rate. We make sure that in wind, whenever we put the turbine, it should work. The micro-sliding is very important. And we have done massive campaign to create awareness. We offer a very special scheme to the schools, and this was launched in the last conference of Re-Energy. There was a big coverage about it in Hindu and business lines, so we have sold out. We had 85 turbines set aside for schools at zero cost, because we believe that one whole generation of people have grown without awareness about renewable energy. These are some installation. This is a very, on the left is a very rural in Basti, Uttar Pradesh. On the right is an urban setup. Whichever is the case, if there is a wind, it will work. And this is Navadisha School in Chennai, if you want to take a look at it on the Velachery Road. Thank you very much. I now request Manu